Welcome everybody once again. Welcome to Kickin' It Old School with Clint and Steven.
I still can't get used to that auto-tune thing, Glenn. How is everybody? I'm hoping everybody made it out. We want to welcome our guest.
We've made another Friday together. We have
He's
a
in the snow right now.
Tonight. Yes, we have a special guest tonight, and let's see if we can get this TV set to tune in here and get him on board. Let's see here. We have tonight's special guest. But do we know who it is? Do we know who the special guest today is?
Well, I do, but let the gang guess. Come on.
Here we go. I think that some people are putting in. They say John. We have John, but John who? Who is our special guest tonight?
He's getting people to guess.
Here we go. It's the one, the only, John Riggs.
He's famous.
Literally in the headline, right?
John,
that's right there. Kicking It Old School, episode 21 with John Riggs.
That's it. So it kind of gave it away. You know, it's kind of like these Star Wars films. You know, they kind of throw it out in the dirt and kind of give it away.
The trailer shows everything anyway, so yeah, you're good. Make up your own.
So I want to thank you personally because I know you literally just walked in the door. We tried to get you on last week, but you just flying in from an event. So thank you, John, for coming on. We were having a little talk before. Maybe we'll get into that again. But John, how was your day? How was your week?
The week was fine. The day was fine. This is the first week that kids are out of school for summer break. So I forgot how fast we go through milk at home when the kids aren't in school. You know, things like those things I have to consider going into summer every time. And then things are fine. I still have my day job and everything, and then come home and do the other stuff, I guess.
The parenting.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
How many kids you got?
I was gonna say video games and filming YouTube videos and stuff like that too. But I guess parenting comes into play too. Well, my kids are now teenagers, so they kind of self-suffied until they need cash.
Are they driving yet?
Like, okay. No, not yet. One of them is old enough to drive. I mean, I didn't even drive. I didn't drive until I was like 25.
Really?
I walked everywhere.
Wow. I
yeah,
was
I just
16 and I was there.
I had friends who did, but no, I was always a walker. My mom's legally blind, so she can't drive, and then my dad was always working, so I either took the bus or I walked. So I got to the point where I walked everywhere, and everything where I lived in the town I live in, which is Yakima, Washington, everything within walking distance. So I didn't really need to drive until I got a job that was like a couple miles away. I was like, okay, if I want to be as reliable as possible and not be that guy that says, "Oh, sorry, I can't get to work because the bus isn't running" or something like that, I better
where
get
did
a
you
car.
grow up?
So in Yakima, Washington. It's central Washington, about 2 hours from Seattle, 3 hours from Portland. So, but we live in a town with no traffic and population maybe 100,000.
So you always
or
lived
so.
out
So big
there,
enough to
right?
have two
wow.
high schools.
You grew up and you've lived out there your whole life.
I was born and raised there. I did move away for about 10 years. And the towns I lived in were all about the same size and everything. So, I mean, like I said, big enough for two high schools, big enough for two Walmarts. I lived in Idaho for a while. I lived in Casper, Wyoming for a while. I did live in a nearby town still in Washington State, but every time I've relocated, it's always been to like a new city, a new state. So you have to pack up everything all at once and move it. I did that for about 10 years. I was a radio nomad and then found my way back here of all places.
I heard a lot of people.
I love how people judge the size of their town by the number of Walmarts or McDonald's or things like that. It's always funny to hear that, hey, our town's really big. We got 2 Walmarts, not 5 or 1. We got 2.
Right. Oh, we had only one Walmart for a while. We have 2 Walmarts now. Well, when I lived in Casper, Wyoming, nice town, there was 2 Wal. No, sorry. There was no Walmarts. There was a Sam's Club, but we had 2 McDonald's, 2 Burger Kings, but then we had like 6 Taco Johns.
Nice.
So it's just
Wow.
depends on the region, the location, or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I got to say, a friend of
Wow.
mine, marrying Jamie Parker. Jamie was on the naval on a submarine, and I guess his sub is stationed out that way. He's actually going out there, I think, this month, and he loves it out there.
Oh.
He says he would love to go out there and live out there. He said he really likes it out in Washington.
I've been to
Yeah,
Seattle a
yeah.
few times. I've been to Seattle. We when I was a Microsoft MVP, I went out. They brought us out to the shore where the boat of the Deadliest Catch. The what the hell is the name of that boat? From the crab people from the Discovery Channel show.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I don't know that.
Yeah, I forget the. Anyways, they brought us to that port, and basically we went on that ship, and I, got to meet people that do Pacific Ocean fishing, crab fishing. So it was kind of a new experience. Yeah, they're gone forever, and then they
launch. It's like, hey, you're on your own now.
Oh yeah, you shake the hand of these people, and they've got sausage fingers that are handled steel their whole life. And it's
my god, no, yeah. I mean, they can undo like truck
a bolt.
without a socket wrench or anything. I mean, they're there. I mean, you have to exercise your hand before you shake your hand.
You don't feel up to par with these people, kind of thing, from a strength standpoint. So it was like, yeah, okay, I just love your boat, thanks, see ya. And that was it. They were releasing a game on the 360 that was like a crab fishing simulator thing. So
interesting.
Funny. So that's why.
John, I gotta ask you. We're on the same age. We're on the same age. I'm guessing. Over 40.
About the same age.
You're over 40,
sure.
right? So when you were growing up,
I am
Saturday morning cartoons were still around, right? When you were growing up. So what was your go-to Saturday morning cartoons? You like your favorite shows that you used to watch?
It's funny. I just my mom just found a photo of me laying on our shag green carpet. Got paneling. Yeah, old TV. It was probably like a 22-inch at the time, or maybe a 24-inch at the time. Console television that was also probably made from the same bit of wood. I'm trying to think of the Saturday morning cartoons I grew up with, and a lot of them I would watch because they were on. And it's like I don't want to change the channel, because changing the channel makes getting up and actually.
That's right. No remote.
Wait a second, John. In that picture, there was no couches or anything. You're just on the floor. Couldn't you just slither over and change the channel? There was nothing there.
Change with my foot, maybe. We did have a couch up against the wall, but I mean, that was way. Well, I got to be closer. I'm trying to think of the shows that I watched. But I mean, the ones that come up are, because of course they're video game focused. But I mean, I grew up with Saturday Super
Channel 2, or at least here at Channel 2.
And it was, I think it was Channel 2 with us as well. And it was ABC or whatever it was. And it was an interesting concept for the time, because it was like, oh, here's a cartoon based on video games, but it wasn't like just Pac-Man. There was a Pac-Man cartoon, but it was like, there'd be like like a 7-minute episode of Kangaroo, which is one of my favorite
they had
games of all
downstairs
time.
Super Kid. I knew about Frogger.
Yeah,
and
the Kangaroo, where it's Frogger, where
Kubert.
Frogger was a news reporter.
Right.
You know,
Kubert was in
it was a very
School.
interesting concept.
Yeah, Donkey Kong, but I forgot about
Kubert was that
Kangaroo.
50s style.
I don't think that stuff aired in Canada.
Well, you can see some of them on YouTube. If you do look, you can see some of the Saturdays. The theme song was fantastic. I can just hear that theme song all the time.
Oh, sure. I'm not gonna. I'll save you the agony of singing it, but although I can sing pretty well, believe it or not, I think I do. Well, I don't know.
In the shower. In the shower.
In the shower, in the car. No, okay, perfect. No, but I mean, Saturday Super Kid aside, of course, I watched Pac-Man as well. I remember Pole Position was a cartoon as well. That was its own thing. But
so you gravitated towards the video game genre type of shows.
Oh, we have, man. I would cheerlead. I mean, anytime name the video game on the cover of Games Magazine. I mean, anytime that video games were featured, I mean, it was kind of during that awkward time in the, not so much in the late 70s, but especially in the early 80s when it started becoming a little bit more mainstream. Pac-Man time of the year, a Pac-Man album that has like
Pac-Man
other songs
Fever.
on there and stuff.
Love it.
It was, anytime we could, cheerlead those. Not just the. I mean, I have. I mean, the Pac-Man cereal, which you can't even see because it's off. I can. Not. It's lit. Anytime we could cheerlead that for video game purposes, I could. But I mean, I would watch anything. I remember there's a show called Biscuits. I mean, there was like shirt tails and stuff like that, where whatever was on their mind, the word would print out on their shirt. I mean, there's a ton of those Saturday morning cartoons that were.
Well, let me ask John something here. Let me ask John something. I know that goes with Saturday morning cartoons. I know John is a big cereal guy. If his YouTube channel tells the truth, he loves the cereal, and people send him cereal from all over the place. And
I have to order it. It's not even gifted. I have to pay for it.
Okay, so it's a two-part question. What was your go-to cereal during the Saturday morning cartoons? Because everybody brought the milk in the bowl and everything in the living room, spilt half of it on the carpet probably. And what was your go-to cereal? And probably what is the oldest cereal somebody sent you in the mail? I'd like to know that answer, because I don't know if you've ever covered it in one of your videos, but like somebody sending you a 30-year-old cereal that's as stale as all hell. But I'd like to know if that's ever happened.
So some of my earliest YouTube videos, because I didn't know what I wanted to do on YouTube, I was just like, I'll just do some whatever. I mean, one of my first YouTube videos, I was reviewing like the Speak and Spell and stuff like that. I was just like, I'll just do a little bit of everything. And I'm as nostalgic for breakfast cereal as much as I am video games or cartoons or toys or anything. It was such a big part of my childhood growing up. My go-to cereal, probably like those early days for Saturday morning cartoons, man. If we had Smurfberry Crunch, that was probably my favorite. Smurfberry Crunch and Strawberry Shortcake as well. The Strawberry Shortcake was actually like strawberry milk flavored. So many cereals today are like, oh, it's whatever with strawberries. It's like I don't want realistic strawberries. I want fake ass strawberries. Give me that artificial.
I want to know what kind of sugar was in those things.
I think it was real sugar.
It probably made you very hyper.
It was real sugar then.
No, never.
No hyper here. Not hyper.
It was definitely during a time where it was less. Sugar was less a priority, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my what cereals we have open on top of our fridge right now. I'm thinking about like the oldest cereal. I have it right here. I'll grab it.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
Hold on, I'll grab that.
We've got people in the chat while he goes and gets us. We got people like Cocoa Pebbles and people having Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Glenn's got the techno music going on. What was your go-to cereal, Glenn? You gotta. Come on.
Even though it was nasty after a while, Lucky Charms and Fruit Loops.
Nasty after a while. Lucky Charms. Is the recipe different?
He's back.
Basically?
He's back.
I'm back.
I was asking Glenn what his was. In the meantime, I was trying to get the crowd to come up with their cereals, and
it's also very. I mean, you can even Google the boxes and look up ingredients. It's very known that the cereals have changed recipes over time, just to make them healthier, better for you, cheaper ingredients. At the end of the day,
cheaper ingredients is really why.
I don't know about the healthier for you part, but hey, what do I know? I'm not a cereal guru.
Cereals, I mean, classically, you talk about Count Chocula, you can't talk about Frankenberry and all that. It used to be like a really nice oat-based cereal, which would be like a Cheerios. Cheerios is like an oat based, but they changed to like a corn based, so it's like
Really?
doesn't have this texture, doesn't have the same flavor. Which is why when you're thinking like, man, when I was growing up, Cookie Crisp tasted better, and I tried Cookie Crisp the other day. It's not even the same. It's not the same. It's a different recipe because Cookie Crisp used to belong to Ralston. Ralston sold their properties to General Mills. And that's another cereal history.
It used to be made with bacon fat, probably, or something.
There we go. See, that's what we need to bring back.
Bacon
Bring back
fat cereal. That's what we need. That's what we need to clog our arteries before you hit 30. We're good. That's what we need.
I don't have the largest cereal collection in the world. I really don't. There are other cereal collectors who have far greater cereal collections than I do. I have enough to write a book.
But where would you keep that all without having it go crazy stale? Like, baby, I'm gonna make this room for my cereal.
You're not gonna eat it for sure. I only have a couple of boxes that are still sealed. A lot of the
like 30-year-old stuff.
Oh yeah. A lot of them I would just open up and flatten the boxes because I don't need to keep them sealed. I mean, there are some who do. The oldest still sealed cereal box I have.
Wait. Let's get the. Let's see.
Yeah.
Which song? Wait. There we go.
Mr. T cereal.
What do we got here? What do we got here, John?
All right. Here's this one right here. This is
Oh my God.
Couch.
That's a Coleco thing, big time there.
Oh, don't you know it? Yeah. The company that makes dog food, by the way, is also pretty good.
Sorry, that's funny.
And I remember trying this back in the 80s, and it was pretty terrible because it was low in sugar, so it just tasted like, it doesn't really taste like
Is
much.
It like
sawdust, probably.
Is it like a Kick cereal, or just like a puff with no flavor?
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's hard to see, but the cereal pieces were kind of puffy face-shaped cereal pieces.
And that's a 30-year-old box.
This is from, let me see. Gotta use my 1985.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Yeah, this one's from 1985. This one looks
If
more
your kids
recent.
ever, John, if your kids ever piss you off, make them that for breakfast one morning and say, "Hey, have at it, kids," because it'll calm you down.
They know better.
They know better.
They know what they wouldn't even.
They
touch
open
that cereal
Daddy's
first.
box vintage cereal. Oh man,
This one's not nearly as old. This one's 1991, but I have the Prince of Thieves cereal.
Oh wow.
you made a cereal of the movie.
Yeah.
Of the movie, of the Robin Hood stuff.
Wow. Okay.
The funny thing to point out is it may be hard to see, but the cereal pieces are supposed to be arrow shaped, but those are not quite
That's
arrow
not
shaped.
what it looks like to me. That is not what it looks like to me.
Big old bolt of that this there. That's gonna help you out. Okay.
Well,
Anyway, and they have a
some
big other
cultures
box.
that means something else, but what do I know?
Yeah. So it's fine. I love
That's
it. It's funny.
awesome.
Well, actually, Adam
So, you might
had
need
a
to
great
come
comment here. Well, I could send you some bags, John. Should have everything inside a plastic bag to keep it safe and secure. That's kind of my shtick.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, those ones I never bothered breaking down. I mean, like other ones are easier to find. Like you can go to antique stores, you can go to even like Comic-Con stuff like that. You might find a vendor who has Batman cereal, Turtles cereal, like the Bill and Ted Excellent cereal, whatever that one's called. And because sometimes they'll still find like these boxes that are just have like 20 of them in there. Sell them off for $20 each or whatever. And I've
Thank
gotten
God
a few of
it's
those.
not real food because that would stink and reek in a house on a hot day.
Yeah.
It would be very
never
bad.
expired. It never
Damn.
expired. It's just a best buy
Wow.
date. So it's like, and you can still, some of my earlier videos are me eating 25-year-old Batman cereal, me eating 25-year-old Barbie cereal. It just tastes like chemical nothing. So.
And you're at the bathroom an hour later, probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, toilet never recovered on that one, but
Wow. Powdered Toast Man
My
cereal.
next question for you,
They got to make
John,
Powdered Toast Man cereal.
is because you are obviously a gamer as well. What was your first console? What was your first experience? Like, what was the first memory you have with a gaming console?
Arcade or
Either
home?
one.
Either. You touched something that blew your mind.
The first, I know I have an earlier experience, but my first video game memory is an arcade one. And it was Donkey Kong. It was before Donkey Kong Jr. came out. Because I remember when Donkey Kong Jr. came out. That's how old I am. But I remember playing Donkey Kong in the arcade, and I remember my thought process was, oh, there's Donkey Kong. I'm going to go play it. So I know I've played at least that game or maybe other games before that, but my earliest video game memory is seeing Donkey Kong in the arcade. It was second from the left in the back of our Jolly Joker, which was our arcade at our Yakima Mall, and going to play it. And that's my earliest memory. We did have, we had the Pong console just before the Atari, but we didn't get our Atari 2600.
With the nice wood grain finish?
Oh, trust me, everything in the early 80s
Had wood grain.
was wood grain and saturated with cigarette smoke.
Okay.
Even the station wagons had the wood grain on them.
Our station wagon had the wood grain. We had the
Yeah,
wood
yeah,
panel
everything
and
had
the
wood
wagon.
grain. The video game consoles, the car,
That's right.
So the
everything.
first one during
Our
that time
Oldsmobile,
frame was
absolutely.
the Atari, not an NES. Because that time frame, you sound like you're bordering on when the NES would have been around. No.
No. It was it was when I first saw Donkey Kong, and I remember it was before Donkey Kong Jr. So it had to have been probably 81 or 82, whenever Donkey Kong came out. Was it
81
Maybe
Donkey
it was
Kong
82.
came out.
It was 81 or 82. So I was like 4 or 5 years old at the time. And then we had the Pong console, but then we didn't get our Atari 2600 until Pac-Man came out. It was like when Pac-Man was released on the Atari, that's when we got our Atari, like the family Atari system. And that was, but it was also, it was that early 80s where we had one TV for an entire household, and having more than one TV, yeah, your mind. Why would you do that?
Right.
It'd be like
It was
having
a
more than
big
one
luxury.
Oh, it was.
It was
You just
rich
had- yeah.
people stuff. Like, hey, you got 2 TVs in your room? Oh, you must be rich.
Oh, yeah. Well,
like,
especially when you're watching Silver Spoons with Ricky Schroeder, and they have
Oh,
full-size
yeah.
arcades in their house. Like, there's no way that'll ever happen. And then here
Yeah,
we are
that's right.
today, where we actually have full-size arcades in our house.
Oh, I got a few of them in my room. And we're good.
I know they're blurred out. That's what kind of tells you what kind of games you carry.
No, you know what? This is my bad computer room, but I have an arcade room, which eventually I always share with everybody. But it's they're legit. It's legit. It's legit. I
So,
swear.
John,
Glenn's seen pictures.
does your family share
Yeah,
your passion for your collecting? I mean, like my son, I tell everyone, I tell Doug, Cool Toy, and Steven Retrobuzz when I die to get here quick because my son's going to throw everything out. It's going to be in the street.
Oh God.
So, does your family kind of share in your passion for these things?
They're very familiar with it, and
Forcefully.
they understand. Now, my wife is a '80s toy collector,
Okay.
so
Oh, that's cool.
she understands. She understands the value and the nostalgia for things like that. So, as she's not really collecting video games, but on her side, for the '80s female side, the '80s girl side, especially. So she's the one who's collecting. In the box, you're talking about Rainbow Bright, Lady Lovely Locks, some of the more iconic, like Barbie and the Rockers.
The
Not all
Cabbage
the Barbies,
Patch dolls.
not believe it or not as many Cabbage Patch, only because they're all unique. So there's no way to collect. You can collect Cabbage Patch Kids, but there's no way to get a complete set because you would have to have literally one of every one ever made. So you can't.
Yeah, my wife, when we met, she has one. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if my daughter got a hold of it and pulled its arm off or whatever, but it's she's had a Cabbage Patch doll, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, what a great thing. And you should have at least a couple of them, right? One or two anyway. So especially if you try to find the one with your birthday on it. Never mind what they look like. If you can find your birthday, that's amazing.
I knew nothing about them, to be honest with you. When she was telling me about the whole thing, I know about the ColecoVision, no problem, same company, but I had no idea about the Cabbage Patch dolls. I was
they were out.
What's so special? Why was people
they
fighting?
were out before.
That was the first Black Friday.
Yeah. Oh, they went
instance.
nuts.
Oh yeah,
but they were older than.
And I was trying to
Coleco.
understand.
Coleco bought them out. It was a brand before that. But like John just said, when Coleco had them, that was like the Teddy Ruxpin, the NES. Xbox, PlayStation 5 of its era, people were beating the daylights out of each other to get these things.
Oh yeah, there's still footage online.
It was insane.
Yeah.
But so my wife understands the idea, and she knows, like, if something happens to me tomorrow or today, depending on if I piss my wife off or not, then she'll know what to do with my games. Like she knows where they would go and not just give them to Goodwill. Something like that. And my kid, the nice thing about growing up as a retro gamer, but I play the new stuff too. My kids grew up with everything, so to them there was no retro gaming. It's just all video games all at once.
Yeah, it's the same in my house too. Yeah,
I would see them go from the original Legend of Zelda to the Breath of the Wild to something else in the blink of an eye. And then it's funny because then all the games I am playing on my Switch, on my on Xbox through Game Pass or whatever, it's all these indie games that look and play like Nintendo games. So it's even the newest games I'm playing are still like retro.
Have you tried
Donut
Dodo?
Just never changed.
Have you tried that one?
Oh, I love Donut. Yeah, I have it on my IIR.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Oh my god, such a throwback. Hopefully it'll come out to the Switch so I can play it portably as well. I don't mind playing it on the II Arcade. I just did the update patch too. I haven't tried the multiplayer yet, and we can talk about that. Donut Dodo. I mean, I would love to see. more games like that is wonderful. I haven't even beaten it. I get to the layer.
Same here.
I got to the Dodo layer. That's as far as I've gotten so far. Every time I've tried. So
I need to get my hands on that game.
It's
I haven't tried it yet.
$4.99 on the iArcade, but
good.
you can get it on the Xbox, right?
I don't have an IR
you have an
arcade
Xbox.
machine,
I think
so if it's not on Steam,
It's
is it on
It's
Xbox?
on Xbox.
Is that on Game
I don't
Pass?
think, unless they just changed it. When I first heard, it's Steam, iArcade, and then of all things, the Atari VCS. We were just talking about the Atari a second ago. John Hancock was playing his on the Atari. But I'm sure it's in the works. I'm sure it's coming out soon, probably for Xbox, probably for. I mean, Switch is pretty easy to put stuff on. So.
I haven't touched Turtles. I have it on Game Pass, and it's just sitting there waiting for me. I want a Turtles machine. I have a real arcade machine of Turtles. I'm just waiting to sit down with my son and my daughter to just enjoy the couch co-op aspect. So
that's true. You can do online co-op anytime. You can just jump in anyone else's game.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they do have that option for couch co-op. It's worth a playthrough. It's an easy 2 hours. You'll beat it the first time you play it. You'll never have to continue. It's just that nostalgia trip, and that's all you need. But I've played it through a couple of times, since then. But
you and I were talking before the show, and I'm in the same boat as you, John. I've had a week of kids finishing school, basically, and then you're running around with your head cut off. And I was telling Glenn before we got started that I had to drive an 8-hour trip to go get my daughter and another 8-hour trip back to go get her. So 16 hours of driving. I'm a little beat right now, so it's like, but
I get it.
John,
but I mean,
okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say games like that, like Shredder's Revenge, like Donut Dodo. I mean, I tend to gravitate more towards those games, not because Elden Ring doesn't look fantastic. Of course it does. Of course it does. I never know how much time I have to dedicate myself to anything anymore, especially having children.
I'm in the same boat.
So something like Donut Dodo, I can just pop it in. Or with that, I can just play it for a little bit, and then if I have to get up and leave, I get up and leave, and it's like I'm able to just jump in and go.
So the next thing I was going to ask you was, out of your collection you have, because obviously you have gaming collections, you got cereal collections, your wife's got collections going as well.
We'll have to get her on the show, by the way.
We will actually.
Well, you know what? If John, you come back, bring your wife, and she'll talk about, because let's face it, our little show here is Kicking It Old School, but it's all guy stuff. We've yet to have a female guest.
Oh, so, she has to school me on a lot of those things. I'm familiar with most of the toys because they would also play the commercials during Saturday morning cartoons or whatever the case is. That was like target marketing at the time, before they just had before you even had the thought process where it's like, do I need cat food? And then the very next day on Facebook, you get ads for cat food. I don't know how they do that. It just happens.
Yeah, they read your brain somehow.
I'm familiar with a lot of those things. I remember when they had, like Lady Lovely Locks was a little bit more of a hidden gem, both for a cartoon or for a Golden Book series, the toy lines especially, because it had the long hair.
But that's the thing. But when we were kids, we didn't really hang out with the girls with their toys in a sense. Like they'd take out the Barbies and we'd be like, I got a video game thing right over there and I'll be right back. See you later. And that's what we were like as kids. Now we make an effort to cross the bridge, so to speak, and then find out what they like. So it'd be kind of a cool thing if you brought your wife next time, if you'll have us come on our little show here again and talk about these toys, because I think Glenn and I have spent not hours, but with our guests, just talking about toys and movies, and not even video game related. We just talk about what affected people's childhood. Well, that's the thing. What affected your childhood, in a sense, and I think that's the core of our show is, with the community and having them. What kind of cereal did you eat Saturday morning? So I'm sure your wife's cereal was very different than yours. It might have been the same. Who knows? So. But go ahead, Glenn. You were going to ask him.
Oh yeah, I was. Out of all this collection you guys have, like, what's your most prized possession? Is it something you still had from when you were a kid, or something was like a holy grail for you, and you finally were able to get your hands on it? What right now is like, you look at it every day and like, man, I love this thing. Other than your wife, because obviously the wife's going to be there too, but she's not a collection.
She may be watching.
Yeah, well, I still have the box she came in, so keep that going. No, it's a copy of, and I've told this story before. It's a copy of. It's a super hidden gem of a Nintendo game for the NES called Princess Tomato and the Salad King.
Oh yes,
and it's a game that I couldn't find back when eBay was kind of a thing at the time, but I didn't want to go to eBay because we still had game stores and even Software Etc. and EB Games at the time were liquidating their NES stock. So that was fun for me, was to go game hunting and find all these games in the late 90s into the early 2000s. And that was the one game I remember renting it. I remember liking it, but it's just it's a point and click style game. But of all the games, I was just like, okay, I had just my mental list of games where I was like, okay, I don't have Snow Brothers. I don't have River City Ransom, all the games at the time. I could never find Princess Camille and the South Kingdom. It was just hard enough to find. But my girlfriend at the time, she went, knowing I was looking for it, because I was always looking for it and asking him, hey, do you have this? For Christmas, she went to eBay and bought it for me and gifted it to me on Christmas. And then I proposed to her shortly thereafter, not the same day. That would have been funny if it was. But she bought it for me. She bought it for me for Christmas because she knew she got it. Proposed to her later, is on Mother's Day of all days. And then and we've been married 20 years.
Congrats.
So I'm not, and I've told other people too. It's like I have other stuff. Conker's Bad Fur Day, whatever. I have all these other games and stuff like that too. And I'm not connected to any of it. If somebody needs it more than me, fine. If they need to have it for their collection, we want to do a trade, I'm okay with that. But that's the only game I'll never get rid of.
You know what? You had me going there for a second about this girl. I was hoping to see your wife in the background because she made an appearance earlier. I thought she'd come back with a frying pan and go, "Which girl are you talking about?" and whack you in the back of the head or something. And I'm sitting there going, "Man, he really likes this other girl for getting in this damn game. Holy crap!" Like, and then it's like, "Okay, you married her. Okay, good man."
Maybe that was someone else. No, maybe she was the one that got me Earthbound. Yeah, it was I think Earthbound.
Because I'm sitting there, like, man, he proposed to this other chick for the game. Holy, he really likes this game.
No, hey, trust me, I'm cheap. One game I didn't have, you go through desperate measures to find the games you need.
I'll marry you for that game, no problem.
No, nothing like that. No. So that game specifically. So that's mine. Other games I have are fun to have. I mean, I have the first reproduction I've ever built myself. I have a copy of my homebrew on NES, like the first one I ever put together. It's like, stuff like that is important to me too. But that game, just because it has that story with me.
I really like watching your. You've added the disclaimer to your open cart surgery sessions that you're not a technician, because you didn't do that before. And I'm sitting there watching and I'm going, John must have got flamed, or no, you're not supposed to, you know how the internet is. You're not supposed to do that like this. And I'm sitting there going, I've been watching your channel for a while, and I'm like, he didn't use this. He wasn't forthcoming about not being an engineer before, and now, why is that?
It was probably literally that. It was probably just literally because it's true. I don't, and and I read the comments of all my videos. I have to, and sometimes, and especially because I don't have a tech background or anything. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, you didn't check the A912 to the V6," and I'm like, I know how to do puzzles really well. I can put slot A into side B, and I can use a soldering iron. I used to solder mod chips on PlayStation 1s for all my friends to play copies of PDR. You know what I mean? So that's how I got my soldering experience.
Hold on one second, Stephen. Hold on 1 second. We got a couple of super chats we got to read before we lose them out here. So we have
do the shout out.
Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Hey, John Riggs. Hope we get a chance to meet and say hi at LI. What's it? The LI Long Island Retro Game Expo in August?
Yep, it's the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. I'm planning on it's a Long Island, New York, the second weekend of August.
I will see you there.
I'm going to be there. Yep, I'll be there. Are you going?
There. If you're there, I'm there.
I'll be there. It's going to be a fun time. I just got my flight booked and everything. So I'm going to be there.
I live too far, John. I won't be there
on Saturday. Come on.
Awesome.
I live in the Great White North of Canada. And if I make you look at a map, and you'll be looking, oh, there's Toronto and all that, and I'll ask you to keep going north, then I used to scare Microsoft people going, oh, you're from Canada, you can make it, and I'd show them where I'd live. I live, and then they're like, okay, never mind.
Forget it.
It's okay.
And we have
you're good.
Barry's Game Exchange. There's great Barry's Game Exchanges.
I've been there a couple times actually. Okay. I've been there a couple times.
I've gotten invited there, but it's more of a please show up. We'd love to hang out. And it's like that's a flight I can't make. There's no easy way to get there.
Well, you have to get to Toronto first, and then take a 1-hour drive north. Is going. How you get there, basically.
Go find some snow.
And I've been there a couple times.
Chat from Paul Beres. Happy Friday, Glenn, Stephen, and John. John, was your
Yeah.
experience at Midwest Gaming Classic? What did you like most? Would you recommend it to other gamers? Thanks, Paul, for the super chat.
Paul, the Midwest Gaming Classic, it's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, traditionally in April, although last year it was in November because they kept pushing it because of the pandemic. But traditionally early April. It is, okay, I've been, not that I'm a man of the world, but I love video game conventions. I love attending them. I love meeting people. I love just hanging out. I love seeing the regionality too. Games that are in Portland may stay on the floor longer than games that are in Philadelphia, for instance. Just different places have different things. Columbus, Ohio, I saw more old Atari stuff than any other convention I've ever been to. Or like St. Louis, Missouri, Mo Game Con. There were Sega Saturn games on the floor that wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds in Portland. They would have swiped them all up.
Wow.
But I love attending conventions. I've been attending them since like 2013 or so. And I'm here to say the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, on the record, is one of the best, if not, could be tied for the best like video game expo I've ever been to in my life. And that includes E3. That includes, any of them.
E3 is
I had
a
a great
damn
time.
zoo, is what it is.
It really is. I've
been to E3 many times, and it sucks because your brain hurts at the end of the day, every day, because there's so much loud music in there. There's people yelling at you and trying to give you stuff. It's nuts. I don't like it. I've been there several times, John. Yeah, you're right.
The networking is great, but you don't go there. It's not just the type to go there and hang out. You have to.
PAX is better for that.
For sure.
But E3 is not for that.
Well, and it's funny because we would always get PAX West, which is after E3. So PAX West was basically E3 leftovers.
I've been there.
It's the same stuff at E3 would be at PAX West. Yeah, you've been there.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. The great experiences I had are just hanging out. I love to travel. If you saw my entire body, you would see that I'm a foodie. I do not have this body shape by not turning down delicious food.
They call that a dad bod.
I'm rocking a dad bod. I got 3 kids, so dad bod approved. And I just love the fact that, and as always with most conventions, and I think a lot of people who attend a lot of, especially retro gaming conventions, video game conventions, whenever they talk about their favorite moments, it's never at the convention. It's always just hanging out with people afterwards. Yeah. And it's cool to see the Midwest people who maybe can't make it out to Portland. I live close to Portland. I can drive there. It's fine. That's why I like attending these other places, because it gives me a chance to hang out with people I meet online. I'm online friends with them, hang out online and everything, but now we can actually hang out, have a beer, which I'm literally doing right here.
Well, you put a name and a face together, and it makes it more real, because the pandemic kind of broke that.
My God, yeah.
The pandemic's like you don't see your relatives for 2 years,
We got another super chat. Sorry, guys. They're throwing money our way.
Please do. Oh, Game Dad.
There you go, Game Dad. MGC is so amazing. Can't wait to go again. Hey, all. And he's got a smiley face, so I'll do it for him.
There's a smiley face. Good call.
The game shows, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. Sometimes it gets so crowded though, man. It's almost like, there's so many people there and you can't breathe. But it's electric because everyone there is having the same passion for what's there. But what do you think about the game prices, John? The game carts and all these things the prices are going through the roof.
Oh man, that's a slippery slope, Glenn.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who stopped buying games during the pandemic, there's definitely a sticker shock to where they were now, to where they are now, to where they were a couple of years ago, where a couple of years ago Earthbound was $200, now it's going for $400. Chrono Trigger was $90, $100. You find it for $200 now. The pandemic, I think the stimulus checks probably bumped those up a little bit. And it always comes down to, shop around as always, and when in doubt, I'm all about trading. So if you got something and they got something, just trade up, and that it's a win-win every time if you can handle it.
I would hit you up if you were an Xbox collector, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. With my Xbox, I play everything on Game Pass. So digitally,
original Xbox, the original Xbox.
Original Xbox. Well, there you go. And it's funny because so many of my favorite games, especially on the original Xbox, like one of my favorites, Crimson Skies, you can find it for like $5 still. So it's
that grows on trees. I have about 5 copies back there, and those are my doubles that I have. But I have a fairly large collection. Fatal Frame 2 at this store I went to a couple days ago. That thing was $150.
Oof.
I just about fell off my chair. I was like, "What in the world?" And what was the other game that was? Bloody Roar Extreme. It's a fighting game with animals, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, I know Bloody Roar.
Yeah, that sucker was $130. I was like, what the hell is this world coming to? I couldn't
You
believe it.
never know, man.
I bought this
It's-
game. Check this out. The one game I could afford walking out of there was this pro bass fishing, no, pro fishing challenge with this chick with a bikini on it with a fish
There you go.
coming
That's where you
out.
buy it.
Want $24, and that's a $5 game all day long. It's now $24. I was like, oh, I got to buy this one for my collection, the one I can afford.
And
Thanks.
it's so hard because I mean you'd pass it up anyway if it was like, oh, $5 is gonna be, $5 today is gonna be $5 tomorrow. But
Yeah, it's terrible.
and then sometimes there's games that's like Ribbit King for the GameCube, and I love Ribbit King. And for years on my channel, I've been talking about how much I love it, how much I like it. You should play it, you should check it out. And it's always been kind of like a $20-ish game, $25 or whatever. And now it goes for 100, 200, whatever it is now.
Wow.
I'm having trouble with keeping up with prices. But I'm like, see, you should. I should have.
Yeah.
I mean, look right here. The
What was the
Atari
name of the
Jaguar
game?
CD, goes for $1,000, and it's only like 5 games for it. So some of the stuff's getting crazy.
Oh my God,
it really is.
Just the Jaguar in and of itself. I mean, the Jaguar sometimes is the butt of many jokes, but then when you actually look one up, it's like, oh, it's almost like people are buying them ironically or something. And all of a
I have
sudden,
3 of them.
just finding a Jaguar console in the first, like TurboGrafx 16, the same thing.
You know what you
TurboGrafx
get with the
16,
Jaguar? You get 2 consoles in one. You get a Coleco Chameleon and a Jaguar. Why not?
There you go.
A 2-for-1
Right.
deal. It's great.
Yeah.
No, John,
And a dental unit. And
With-
a dental
with
X-ray
like the
unit.
market the way it is and the prices what they are, what do you feel about owning physical media versus downloadable content? I personally am a physical media. I hate downloadable content. But what are your thoughts on it?
I can see both ways. My thing is, if a physical exists, I'll get the physical. Especially if it's the same price, why wouldn't I? It's right there. But especially like when you have children, my youngest has autism, is known to lose things. I love the convenience of having here's this Switch game I want to play. I open it up and the cartridge is gone. No one knows where it is. So I do like the convenience of something like a game. Like I have an Xbox Series S just for Game Pass. I had an Xbox One and I had a few games for it, but most of the games I played were all on Game Pass
Right.
anyway. And I love the fact that the Switch can just, you can download it. And again, like so many of the games I'm playing are these $5 downloads that,
I'm with John on this one. I like both because
you
of
change
exactly
your
what
tune
you
every
said.
week, Steven.
No.
However, I mean, but then on the flip side,
I'll
like
drive to New York,
TMNT
man.
Shredder's Revenge, in all transparency, I received a promo code. I received a review code, so I didn't pay for it. I have TMNT Shredder's Revenge on the Switch, but when the physical, and I don't know the physical pre-orders are happening right now, but when the physical is available, like in my hands, like I find it at a convention or something, I'll buy that. So I have that. So I have it because trust me, you never know. You talk about going back to Xbox, especially the 360. You go back to games like Afterburner or Afterburner Climax, which no one can play it now unless you had to download it.
Same thing with Turtles. Gone.
You never. Yeah, these things are going to happen. I mean, and especially the other games that are coming up, like it never happened. It's the Castle. It was like the Castlevania remakes or Castlevania Game Boy remakes or something for the Wii. That, I mean, fortunately through hacks and emulation and stuff like that, they could, you could bring it back.
Put it back, yeah.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be cool to just throw it on a thing and it was kind of during that time, and it was I was fortunate, I guess, for myself when the Wii came out. That's when my first child was born. So I wouldn't have to go to the store. I can just download a game and feed the baby with one arm and then play some Wii games. I mean, the Wii came out for me at the perfect time when I had children. I could play all these one-handed games while I'm holding the baby in the other hand.
I find the digital physical conversation is very, very much a double-edged sword. Sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I like both for different reasons. For the convenience thing that you talked about with losing stuff. Where's my disc of that? Well, now it's digital. And with the Xbox, you can make one your home console and your regular console. So you can have 2 copies of the same game and share your library. But physical, there's just something about putting in a cartridge in a machine that's satisfying. It's a double-edged sword for me. It's a
good point what he says, because you can get a multi-cart and it's still not the same as the original game, even though there's no difference. It's kind of weird. What do you think, John?
I think psychological, but
no, there's something psychological about that. It's that iPod mentality. If you have an iPod that's loaded with 1,000 songs, you'll hear the first part of the song, you'll hear the hook, you'll hear the chorus, you'll move to the next song. You don't even finish the song. And I think multi-carts, I think digital, and other forms of that play into that too. Like where you play a game and you die once. You're not done with the game, but you're like, okay, done, next, and you move on to the next game. But if you actually take, we were talking about Saturday morning cartoons, where it's like, if I want to change the channel, I have to literally get up off of my ass, go over, change the channel, go back, sit. So you're dedicated now. So now it's like, okay, I popped the game in my
committed.
Yeah, it's in there, it's done. I'm sitting down. It's there. It's playing. I'm not getting the blinking light or anything like that. So now that it's there, if I want to play a different game, I actually have to physically get up off my ass, change the game. It's like, nope, I'm committed. I'm focused. I'm gonna play this game. And there's something to be said about that too, where it's like, I've made it this far. Now I'm gonna play it to completion, or at least for a while. You don't just have the luxury of just backing out and playing something else because you died for Goomba and Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, John, we have a very big question here from Square Pegs.
Sorry.
I love Square Pegs. You gotta check out their channel.
John, real talk. What's your opinion on cinnamon being on Hawaiian pizza?
Damn it. Okay, so I'm a regional foodie as well. Whenever I travel, and I think I mentioned that, whenever I travel anywhere, I look up to see what food that area is known for. I did not know about Riggy's from upstate New York. Rochester, New York has something called the Garbage Plate. If you're in St. Louis, Missouri, you'll find ooey gooey butter cake. You'll find toasted ravioli. All these things I'm not familiar with in the Northwest. Much like in my area, we have something called fry bread, which may not be the most popular thing in the world, but we have, and cheese zombies. Cheese zombies are a real thing here. You go somewhere else and ask for one, they will look at you with a confused look like you're eating a cat. When we were in Columbus, Ohio, Square Pegs and seriously, Square Peg, both Square Pegs and Game Dad are both in the chat. They both have fantastic channels. You should really check them out. I was like, you know what? We'll split a Hawaiian pizza, and there's but for some reason it was like, okay, Hawaiian pizza. I like pineapple. Don't whatever. Canadian bacon,
judge.
pineapple, cheese, whatever. Cinnamon. I'm like,
Cinnamon.
tell me about the fact that you put cinnamon on a Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't put cinnamon on your Hawaiian pizza? I'm like, no.
I've never heard that. I like Hawaiian pizza, sue me, but it's like cinnamon? Really?
Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I mean, it worked. It was fine. It worked. But I never once thought, I was like, maybe that's just a Columbus, Ohio thing. I have no idea. But that's where Square Pegs is. Like we shared a pizza that had cinnamon on it. It's like, okay, well, within Columbus, Ohio, I guess, do what the Ohioans do.
I went to California and they visit some friends and E3 and all that stuff, and they told me there's like, if you come to California, you got to go to In-N-Out Burger before you leave.
Yeah.
And I'm oh, okay, sure. And it was a good burger, don't get me wrong, but this isn't a burger from heaven or anything. I mean, it's good, but the way they were talking, it was like the holy grail of burgers. It was like you can't go to your grave without eating In-N-Out. Like basically, I'm like, oh, okay.
You're
sure.
in. Yep, that's right.
What do you guys think about In-N-Out? You've had it, Glenn, John. Have you had?
Oh, yeah.
And are they full of crap, or is there merit? I didn't think so, but whatever.
No, they're full of crap. It's the most important thing you've ever had in your life. It's called In-N-Out for that reason. I mean, not just because it goes in one hole and out the other. It's
very.
That's Taco Bell's motto.
They get through the drive-through line quickly because they're just pumping out these burgers that people grew up with. It's going back to that nostalgia factor. It's going back to the
that's what it is.
That I really, really love. And and then
I didn't get a history
like,
lesson with the burger, but that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, it's a California thing. Just like if you're in if you're in the South, if you're in Texas, you got to go to Whataburger. Whataburger has their own thing going on. I tried one; they're fine. I'm also not the biggest burger fan, so maybe I'm not the best judge of character.
Yeah.
But I went to In-N-Out, and I was like, it's I could have had it. Could have had it anywhere. And then they're like, no, you're supposed to get the secret menu. You got to get that like animal fries or monster fries, whatever it's called. I'm like,
secret
if it's
menu
on the menu, then maybe it's a secret for a reason.
They don't put it on the main menu for a reason.
Give me what you're known for, and I will. And that's
fried
that.
Lassie or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's like when you go to White Castle for the first time. And I finally went to White
Castle. That's disgusting.
What?
I hate it.
But I said,
what?
That's
it's just
gross,
one of those
man.
things where people who grew up with it, especially that high school age, that college age, and they try. And I went to White Castle, for my first time in my 30s, and I was like, no burger at a restaurant should taste exactly as it does when you buy it from like the freezer section at the grocery store. It's the same thing.
It's just grease. It's just grease on a bun. It's steamed. It's the
Oh, but
best.
you get
It's not
100
even
of
a
them.
real bun. It's like
you
this
can get a-
almost
you can get a-
biscuit thing. Ugh.
You can get a basket of them. You can get Goldilocks basket full of burgers and
You
share
know
'em
which
with.
burger place I like is what is it, Five Guys in Seattle
Oh, yeah.
area? That's
Oh,
really
yeah,
good.
Family Guy, guys.
Yeah, no, that to me that's a better than In-N-Out in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it's good if you like paying $10 for a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Yes, I
My
agree.
buddy was paying, so I didn't care.
Well, then it doesn't matter.
I didn't care. Oh, what the hell. It's like
Yeah, although
whatever.
it's weird because when you first walk into Five Guys, they do that. They have fresh French fries. They even tell you what city the potatoes came from. That's how fresh they are. But when you first walk in there's a barrel full of peanuts, and you're like, "That's okay." It's not like Texas House or anything, but there's just giant barrel of peanuts for no reason. But yeah, I see other burger places. I don't know if you have a favorite burger place. You can always sound out. Shake Shack, wonderful. Steak and Shake was a good one. They had the shoestring French fries and all that. That's kind of a Midwest thing. They had that in St. Louis as well. Yeah, but again, like I'm not much of a burger guy. Whenever I go to a burger place, I usually get not the cheeseburger because they almost always have like chicken strips or fish and chips or something else.
So more of a chicken guy than a burger
wanna-
guy.
I mean, I don't know. I'm also super picky. I can't do ketchup, mustard, or mayonnaise. So it's easier for me to just not get a cheeseburger. And then that's I'm like, I feel like a 12-year-old thing. Like, can I get a cheeseburger plain? No. Like lettuce is okay, but I don't want sauce on it. I don't want to mess up my hands. It's like,
Oh,
like
I gotta
don't
tell
like
you, when
tomatoes by
a
themselves.
friend of mine, Mary Parker, we used to go out, plain burger, no pickle, this on the side. It was like it took 20 minutes to order. I said, just give me whatever you got on the. I'll take whatever you got. It's 10 hours old. I'll eat it. I eat like 10-day-old Taco Bell. I mean, it's literally like taking the taco. It's like I still eat it. It's delicious.
Oh my God,
He lives
Well,
the bachelor life.
got an iron gut. Without eating habit, maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna survive. I'm
I
gonna
got a
survive
question
the
for you, John.
apocalypse that's coming our way with gas prices. What's gas prices
I know,
by you, John?
it's all food now.
What are you
What's
paying
that?
for
Gas
gas over
prices?
there?
Oh, don't even get me started on the gas.
No, it's fine. It's just about $5. So we're not as bad as a lot of the parts of the country. There was like news breaking news. The regular gas was like $4.99 at a local gas station earlier today. But it's usually been about like $5.29 or so as the average around here. We also live near an Indian reservation, and it's cheaper. It's like maybe 20 minutes outside of not even 20 minutes, probably like 15 minutes outside of town. It's cheaper, and so many people will drive from our town to the res to fill up because I mean there's no tax.
Right.
You get the it's statistically the cheapest gas in all of Washington State is like 15 minutes away from where I live. So many people will like drive out there, fill up, and then drive back, and they're saving money that way. But it's a bit. But there's always like the value reward points from grocery stores and stuff like that too. So I'm not super concerned about it. Like I said, we live in a pretty small town. I mean, I live a 5-minute drive from work. I could walk there in 15 minutes. If I had
$7 to $10 a gallon in Central California. Holy
it's
crap!
It's pretty bad over there.
Yep, that's all you, Game Dad. That's
You get a kiss with that at least.
Free on something anyway.
It's like, geez. But I wanted to ask you something, John. Is radio DJ, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I work for a group of radio stations.
I wanna hear your music nostalgic stuff.
Oh God, I don't have any.
Meaning, or do you work at your job and you hate the music and you're sick of it when you get home, kind of
No,
career thing? And like, I don't want to hear that crap anymore. I heard it all day.
I mean, fortunately, the radio stations I work for play the same music anyway, whether I'm listening to them or not. So any radio station I've ever been on, I've usually liked about half of the songs anyway. But when I'm live on the air, and I'm not even live on the air anymore. Everything's pre-recorded, everything's voice tracked, everything's. I keep hearing the door open up or something.
You work from
everything's
home, or do you actually go to a studio?
No, I still go to work. I still go to the studio because I mean, anyone who's also a radio DJ does 19 other things behind the scenes. They just happen to be on.
I have a few
Fun
friends that
fact.
are DJs. So
Fun
Yeah,
fact,
it's
I was a
all
DJ out here. I was a DJ for WLNA, WHUD.
There you go, dude.
Peekskill. Did that for a while. And then, of course, here I am. So look how well that went. Aces.
would you believe? Would you believe I did that too? But it was to replace somebody that was on mat leave, and I was friends with the guy working there, and he's like, "Dude, you can do the Sunday morning show. And here I didn't know anything. So I was like, you see, you press, it was real. It wasn't digital. And he's like, oh, here, press this, do that, put this tape in. So he failed to tell me, I hope there's not too many religious folks, Sunday morning, it was I think it was called the Family Bible Hour or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Not that I'm terribly religious, but I wanted to gouge my eyes out every time that show came on. It was just a tape that I play, but then you can't go anywhere. So I'm sitting there looking at the sky going, oh, please stop. And then after that was, what is it? There was a country show, the Kins, I forget. It's a popular U.S. Station-wide country show or whatever. Anyways, did that, and I quit about a month and a half later. I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I have to get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. to go play Family Bible Hour. Forget it. I'm out. And that was the end of that.
Yeah, no, I've done everything from we had a live feed from a local church that would pipe through to our AM station. That I would have to make sure that satellite was actually in queue and into it, and they played that for an hour, like you said, and they knew that it was on the radio, so they would actually sync it up. But I mean, I kind of you get to the point after a while where you don't actually listen word for word.
It's noise.
Well, I did a lot of and I did a lot of sound engineering for sports games too. So I was like, hey, you're going to pay me to listen to the Sonics at the time for Seattle, the Mariners, the Seahawks. Like, especially for the Mariners, you don't really listen to the game so much because I was over there. I was, especially when I was doing that, I was going to college at the same time, so I was doing my homework, and all I was listening for was like, well, that's out number 3. We're going to go to a break. It's like, okay, now I can hit this button over here, and then take my log and meter readings and all that. You get used to that. But no, currently I'm the afternoon guy on our rock station. So I'm on a rock. I mean, most of my experience comes from top 40 radio. So I mean, you're talking like I was there when Justin Bieber first came out. I was there when Justin Timberlake and Lady Gaga and all that.
Sorry.
Yeah, again, you don't have to listen. Like when you're live on the air, you don't have time to listen to the music. I mean, if you met famous people, you love music.
Have you met famous people through your show?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Name a few that nobody was going to run away like Justin Bieber there, but name a few. Drop some names here. Let's go.
Sure. Rob Zombie.
Is he cool or is he crap?
No, he's awesome.
Okay, good.
Because it showed up in my Facebook memories. 10 years ago today, I met Nickelback.
Oh, nice.
So
wow.
So got that photo.
Nice Canadian band.
That's right. Yes, it's because you're here. That's what happened. That's commemorate this auspicious occasion. Like we've done radio interviews. Like they weren't actually in studio, but talking to ton of times with. I don't know, Busta Rhymes, RuPaul. For some, I always hark back. RuPaul was probably one of my favorite interviews of all time.
Oh, really?
RuPaul has so much personality. I'm not a musical artist. They're promoting something else. Probably RuPaul's Drag Race. But we vibe, I guess. As far as like bands go, I mean, a lot of rock bands, because we get a lot of rock bands come through our town, like both our town and a nearby town at their stadium. So like bands like Shinedown and Puddle of Mud, and whoever else.
Puddle of Mud, I like that band. Pretty good.
But it's always just, at the end of the day, they're real people too. They're real just hanging out. They're just hanging out. There's like we're hanging out. And there's behind the scenes or whatever. There's behind the scenes or whatever. There's chilling and maybe something like that, and a beer or something like that. Okay, I guess we gotta go. Like, okay, I guess we gotta go on stage or something.
Well, you've heard of the band. You've heard of the band Platinum Blonde.
I have, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I got to tell this story. I got to tell this story. Funniest story. Like I tell people, and they're like, really? They came up to this little town I lived in, and my buddy, the DJ, that got me that morning job or whatever. He says, come in the car. We're going to a hotel room. He didn't tell me who. He didn't tell me who hotel room. They're going to do. They're going to do. What do they call that? What do they call that? Whatever that they say. You're listening to. This is so and so from Platinum Blonde. You're listening to whatever. Right? Drives us over there. And I'm sitting there going. I didn't know. I'm like, who's this guy? I'm like, who's this guy? And it's not Platinum Blonde. It's not Platinum Blonde when they had the big hair. It's the dude 30 years later, 20 years later, right? So opens the door. Like this lead singer for Platinum Blonde. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I'm a graphic designer. So this guy sitting on his bed reading the manual for Adobe Illustrator. And I'm sitting there going, the lead singer, Platinum Blonde reading the manual for Adobe Illustrator. So my buddy introduces me, and he goes, "My buddy here's a graphic designer." My buddy here's a graphic designer. I know Adobe Illustrator, I know Adobe Illustrator like the back of my hand. He ignores my friend. Ignores my friend, and he starts asking me like 1,001 questions, ignoring him completely. And I'm like, you better want to talk to my buddy instead of me. But he was asking me all these technical. And I'm sitting there laughing. I'm going, "No, I didn't." Reading a manual for a program that I know really well, So the lead singer, lead of all people, blonde of all people. So they're regular people. They're regular people. Like I said,
they're regular people. When I picked up, I don't think they've done anything kind of recently, but recently, but maybe 12 years ago or so. There's a band called Blue October. They had a few songs. They had a few songs. A couple songs for you. But yeah, it's like I had like a rented vehicle, but like he's got like the keys. I was like, I got drive you around. At the time I was driving like a 94 Ford Escort or something like that. No AC. But he was totally cool. Driving them from where we were to whatever. I think my wife's actually fine right now. She just chimed in. The band Bowling for Soup. We were backstage because like our radio station presented the show. It was our show. And so here's Bowling for Soup. Songs 1985, all these other songs. Girl, all the bad guys want, and all that. And But you know the songs, you heard the songs, maybe you heard the band, but you probably don't even, you may not know what the band looks like, maybe the plus side. And so this entire time, and that was right when we had our first child, and so my wife is back there, and talking to some random dude back there, oh yeah, maybe one of the roadies, what's like having a first kid, and they were talking for like 15 minutes or so, a while. And then he was like, oh, hold on, I got to do something really quick. And then he grabs the microphone. He's the lead singer for Bowling for Soup. But my wife didn't recognize him because he was first turn. He's like, let him for an hour. And then he came back, and then, it was all funny after that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They're all just real. David Draymond just Disturbed. I met Disturbed. It's like, they're very happy, very humble, and very appreciative.
Most of them are down to earth. Most of them are.
Yeah. I've never had any. Well, I don't want to name drop. There was one. He wasn't an artist, but he was a celebrity that people have heard his name before. And
come on, you can out with it. Who's gonna? It sounds like.
No, it was. I mean, he was the only guy where I was like, he was kind of a jerk. I mean, not that he was a jerk, but he was kind of a jerk. So I was like, okay, you know what? That's fine. But again, the love outweighs the hate, and literally everyone else we've associated, like all the fans, all the whatever interviews. Like no doubt, the band, the drummer for No Doubt complimented me on my hair. I had like blue and blonde dreadlocks and everything. I was like, compliment coming from you with the rainbow mohawk.
Real quick, guys, check your mics because we're getting a bad echo from one of you two. I'm not sure if someone has a speaker open or something like that. We're getting a bad echo on the feed.
I have none.
Oh no! Crazy.
I hear an echo from John. So, hey, how are we doing for time there, Glenn? Because it's 9 o'clock.
Oh, it's coming from John. It's John. You're the culprit, John.
Me?
I don't hear an echo from him.
Not here. We don't, but I hear it on the feed.
Oh, okay.
Do you have an
Unless you have the YouTube video going. Yeah. It's a good idea to mute it. No.
About that. Nothing. Maybe.
Okay, Steven, you say something.
Say something. I have the same setup I've had for months, but sure.
It sounds okay. And John, say something.
Was the echo happening this entire time?
No. It just came up a few minutes ago. People were saying.
I'm on my phone, so I don't know what else to do.
I was going to say we went like a whole hour and nobody said anything.
No, about 5 minutes ago, people started saying they're hearing echoes, and we don't hear it here in the studio. I don't hear anything, and you guys don't hear it, but on the actual feed.
That's weird.
I think it's okay now, though. Guys, say something.
Say something.
Literally anything.
Yeah, it's fixed now. I don't know what it was. So we're good again. Sorry about that. But
before we keep going, it's 9 o'clock. Do we have to go for the
Super Game Room dudes have started. So, John, I want to thank you for coming out. I want to ask one last thing. I know you have some friends out there that got some challenge. You want to give some shout outs to some of your buddies out there, like Gaming Dad. I know you're friends with out there.
Yeah. I saw Game Dad in the chat. He has a channel that's always doing good. He recently just kind of did a step-by-step way of tricking out your Sega Dreamcast. So you can always check that out. And then early in the chat, he had to bounce earlier. But Square Pegs, if you scroll up the chat, you can see Square Pegs. His channel, he does a lot of kind of the same stuff I do too, where it's like, here's some Switch games that no one's talking about. Here's and he worked in the industry. He worked at EA for a long time, so he has a lot of great insider industry stories.
Cool.
And both are people I hang out with at conventions whenever we happen to be at the same convention.
Well, I'm sure I'm going to talk to you long before the convention, but I will see you at the Long Island one. I will definitely be there. And I agree with.
It'd be a fun time.
Yeah, I think so. And I definitely agree with Steven. Maybe get the missus on. We could talk a little bit about some of her collection as well. Maybe have you both back on at some point.
Yeah. There we go.
We'll strictly talk toys or something. We'll just
Is
talk
she here now?
toys.
You want to talk about Lady Lovely Locks some other time in the future? She said, maybe. Okay.
There's not 100,000 people on our show
Tell her
yet.
I have a lot of White Castles. I know how much they're your favorite right now. I can microwave them and have them all ready.
No White Castle, not from either of us, I promise.
You'll pay for it on the throne later. That's the problem with that thing. Well, thank you, John, for being our guest today. It was very exciting, very awesome. And we'll hope to have you and your wife, the missus, back again on our show. And it was a lot of fun. Thank you again.
Yeah, there's a lot we haven't touched on.
Get that female demographic on your channel now.
We could go on for hours, probably. But...
we could. All right.
Well, John, listen, thanks. And everyone's still here. The Super Game Room dudes are probably starting up their show right now, so go hop over to their show. Once again, thanks to John for coming on the show. And remember, no matter what you do, tell your family and friends that you love them. And what else? Game on, my friends.
At the Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue, sit. Good dog.